I'd like to thank Gloria Nye for reading today. And I can say that her home is a nest because love and tenderness definitely abide there. She's a great mom and grandmother. I also want to thank our music team and especially Katrina Smith for her lovely solo. It's a beautiful song and you'll be privileged to hear it later in the service. Today is Mother's Day, a day in which we celebrate mothers. So happy Mother's Day to every mother, adopted mother, wannabe mother, those living in a male body, to everyone who mothered expertly, and to those who failed miserably. It's a blessed role and a complicated one, and it brings love and joy, pain and suffering. It's not for the faint of heart. Whether you've given birth or adopted, choosing to love and care for a life is a choice of the highest order, the most sacred, and a choice that lasts a lifetime. May you feel blessed, loved, and appreciated on this day, even if your children do not know how to express it. You have been ordained by the Beloved because you said yes to this role in whatever form, and it is indeed a blessing. I also want to recognize that Mother's Day can be a bit of a mixed bag for some people. So while we take time today to honor mothers and acknowledge the power of our earthly mother's love, I'm very sensitive to those who never felt it. So our topic for today's message is the architect of a mother's love. But first, the question of the week. What is the one choice you can make today to fully embrace the nurturing of a mother's love and to use your own love to nurture, to create, and to heal? One more time. What is the one choice you can make today to fully embrace the nurturing of a mother's love and to use your own love to nurture, to create, and to heal? If you've traveled the world or watched movies or TV, you must be aware that the architecture around the world varies widely. From the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the Guggenheim Museum in New York, the Taj Mahal in India, the pyramids in Egypt, the Dancing House in Prague, the Acropolis in Athens, Westminster Abbey in London, the Colosseum in Rome, Casa Mila in Barcelona, Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, the Lotus Temple in New Delhi, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City, the Sydney Opera House in Australia, and the White House in our very own capital. And let's not forget the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. I think you would agree that the many styles of architecture show us that there is not only one way to create and build a structure of beauty. The process varies and is dependent on many factors, one of which is the foundation, and another the creativity of the designer. And yet other factors include location, religious inheritance, political influence, and many others. I've had the opportunity to personally visit a lot of what I just showed you. And what I know is that each structure in its own way had its own beauty and struck my heart as lovely. Even the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which I have to admit was quite a sight, it did make me a bit leery until I'd heard that they were shoring up and reinforcing it. You're most likely getting the picture now that when we look at the architecture of a mother's love, there's no simple approach that clearly defines it. There are so many ways for a mother to show love to her children and to create a structure of connection. And some end up like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, not built on a strong foundation and needing to be supported in different ways, perhaps by other people or by the child as he or she grows up, learning to nurture by self-love. I want to tell you a story this morning, which is a true one, from the book The Architecture of All Abundance. It was written a number of years ago by Lenedra Carroll, who you might know as the mother of the pop star Jewel. It seems very appropriate to what I want to talk about today. The little girl watched the woman in the church with a new baby. They were right next to her. The baby was snuggled in a soft white blanket, dressed up in a beautiful long white gown that was all lace and ribbons. The lady cradled her little one in her arms, beaming down with a beautiful smile, cooing quietly. Her glossy black hair fell across the snowy blanket, touching the baby's cheek lightly. And after a while, the baby began to fuss and squirm. Shh, the woman croned, rocking the baby carefully. Her eyes were so gentle. Shh, shh. Her voice was soft and soothing, rocking. She just continued. Shh. As the baby quieted, the little girl by their side felt a deep longing. I want that, she said to herself. I want someone to hold me just like that. She sat very still for a long time, pretending she was the baby. It felt so safe and warm there, right next to the pretty lady. That sense of being completely enveloped in protection and love, in a safe and secure blanket, that feeling of being completely filled with indescribably delicious, unconditional love is something we all crave. Each and every one of us, whether we're a little girl or a grown woman, a little boy or a grown man, it doesn't matter. We crave that unconditional love. Some of us received it as babies and as children and as adults from our earthly mothers. I was one of those fortunate people. Others, like the author, who was the little girl beside the pretty lady in the story, did not. And for those reasons, to approach what indeed is a mixed bag of conditions about our mother and emotions around motherhood, I want to honor mothers and acknowledge the power of a mother's love while being sensitive to those who never felt it. I plan to begin by recognizing the critically important role that our earthly mothers played in our lives, and then moving to the feminine principle, which is the concept of divine mother love. And finally, I think of tremendous, perhaps greatest importance, we come full circle and connect with the divine mother love that's within each of us. So let's approach this message, remembering the words of Charles Fillmore. If we would draw us to love, we must be love. We all owe our mothers a deep and heartfelt thank you. Yes, I said all. Why do I say that? It's pretty simple. Without our mother, we wouldn't be here. As Galinda said in the whimsical musical Wicked, as she began to tell the story of the Wicked Witch of the West, she had a mother, like so many people do. Some school-age children were asked once, why did God make mothers? And the answer included, she's the only one who knows where the Scotch tape is, mostly to clean the house. Think about it. It's the best way to get more people. But the most insightful child said, to help us get out of there when we're getting born. Yes, without our mothers, we would never have been born. So whether you're on the mother continuum, on the one end of having been truly nurtured, had a wonderfully loving and caring mother, or on the other end, the wick of the West as your mother, we each owe our mothers a thank you for bringing us into the world. I've said now a couple times that we owe our earthly mothers a thank you. But what if for today we chose to freely give it? What if we chose to freely give a thank you to our mothers, whether they're still with us or not, whether they were wonderful or not so wonderful, and whether they were present in our lives or absent? Could we do that right now? I invite you to just close your eyes just for a moment. And in the silence of your heart, thank your mother for bringing you into this world. And as you continue to keep your eyes closed, consider if just this morning we gave our earthly mothers more than a thank you. What if again, in the silence of our own hearts, we stepped up spiritually, put on our big spiritual shoes, and chose to accept our mother for exactly who she is or was, with all her gifts and her faults, all of her flaws, and celebrated her gifts, forgave her for her flaws, and simply loved her. I recognize this will be easy for some people like me and very difficult for others. But I invite you to do it anyway. I'm reminded of the poem written by Mother Teresa entitled Do It Anyway. And the first line reads, people are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. So how about if we love our mothers anyway, just for a few moments? Thank you. So as you open your eyes, just take a deep breath and know that you are loved right here and right now. Are you ready to move on? Great. The concept of a mother is so much broader than our experience of our earthly mothers. And we do motherhood in ourselves a grave injustice when we limit our thinking to just our experience of our own mother. For motherhood is in fact a spiritual concept, the concept of the feminine principle or the divine mother. Ernest Holmes refers to this feminine principle as the universal womb of nature because it's creative and receptive, and it unconditionally nurtures and grows whatever falls into its embrace. Again, it's creative and receptive, and it unconditionally nurtures and grows whatever falls into its embrace. This is God in the mode of universal mother. And human mother with all her history, fears, faults, and so on. The nurturing nature of the universe, of that divine mother, is the very essence of unconditional love. An unconditional love that's part of the divine and lives within each of us. The divine mother is always attending to her children in whatever way serves their eternal needs. She gives her children freedom to choose the rocky road of life and to experience all the pain of the path, yet she's always there when they ask for help. And like the mother bird who, when the little baby birds are ready to face the world, pushes them out of the nest, the cosmic mother does the same thing. She allows us to fully experience life on our own terms. But unlike the mother bird, our cosmic mother always allows us to come home to the divine at any moment. It's the cosmic mother's nature. God, as the divine feminine, is unconditional love. The French mystic Pierre Teilhard de Chardin put it this way: the condition is always the same. Love is the most powerful energy in the world. I believe that most all of us would agree with that statement. Unconditional love is the most powerful energy in the world. Buddhism has a wonderful story about the nature of this power. It's the voice of Yin, the feminine wisdom, attributed to the Buddha. And the story goes this way. There was a powerful macho bandit who approached the Buddha and informed him that he was a ferocious bandit, the mightiest in the world, and he was going to kill the Buddha to demonstrate his great power. The Buddha said, well, then surely you can first grant me 2 wishes. The bandit says, get on with it. The Buddha points to a small sapling nearby tree and says, please cut off the smallest branch on that young tree. The bandit laughed, waved his sword. It was done. And what's your final wish? The bandit asked the Buddha. The Buddha held up the small severed branch and said to the bandit, now put it back. Legend has it that the bandit achieved enlightenment in that moment. The true meaning of power is to create life, not to destroy it. It's so true that love creates. It does not destroy. In The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. It is the sole impulse for creation. And that love is the love of the cosmic mother. It's the power to create life. Charles Fillmore, in his Talks on Truth, wrote, pure love is without discriminating power. It simply pours itself out upon the object of its affection and takes no account of the result. And so, my friends, this Mother's Day can be a chance for each of us to consciously connect and reconnect with the principle of the divine feminine within ourselves, which is where the true power of unconditional love, the true power of creation resides. We can take today to pour pure love upon ourselves, to be the architect of our own lives, and the mother of our own soul. Connect with the divine feminine and use that nurturing power to heal any differences you have with your earthly mother and to nurture your own child within, to mother that child within you that still perhaps has a few things that it would like to be nurtured. A few things that that little girl in the pew next to the beautiful lady wished that she could have. Allow forgiveness to set you and your mother free from anything that is not love between you. Let me repeat that. Allow forgiveness to set you and your mother free from anything that is not love between you. One last story. It was in a newspaper in Iowa, and it was titled, Dog Has Kittens for Lunch. You can understand why some of the visitors to this particular shelter were a little freaked out. It's not every day that you see a dog having a kitten for lunch, and not just one kitten, but a whole litter of them. The story of this unusual dining arrangement began when Lily, a mixed lab and who knows what else, was found along an old farm road. She was pregnant and soon had the puppies, and all of them had just been adopted. Everything was normal until one day a litter of kittens showed up with no mother. A lady at the shelter admitted that they couldn't possibly bottle feed all of these small kittens. Then she came up with a possible solution, and she decided to see if it would work. She brought the kittens to Lily to see if Lily would nurture them, which she did. She had them for lunch, for dinner, and breakfast. Lily nurtured the kittens in other ways as well. When one kitten fell into her water bucket, she rescued the little troublemaker and carried it off to safety. And amazingly, it turns out that Lily is not one of a kind. There's a story about a wildcat who heard an abandoned fawn crying for food, and he took in the little deerlet. There's also a story about a goat who raised a baby horse. Perhaps most amazing of all is a leopard who killed a baboon, unwittingly creating an orphan. Now, the leopard could have had the orphan baby as an appetizer, but instead, it sat down and nurtured it. Why would animals show such grace? The instinct to love and nurture must be deeply wired into all beings. And when you take away outside factors and influence, that's what we do. We nurture, we love, because it's who we are. We are each an image in the likeness of the divine, of the cosmic mother. And whether we're male or female makes no difference. Lenedra Carroll also wrote, "This love in truth simply is. Love is. Love is the essence of the life force surrounding us. It is what allows everything to have cohesion. Love is both our birthright and our legacy. Love is the original blueprint of our soul." I love that. Love is the original blueprint of our soul. Love is what we are. We don't have to search for it or work at it or win it to hold on to it. It's in us and all around us in every other being. We can take refuge in love when we're afraid. We can tap into it to heal our heart. We can send it out to a hurting friend. And we can deepen into it and allow it to be the sole impulse for building our lives. Truly, the architecture of a mother's love is as diverse as each of us. And yet, there is that unity of oneness that connects all of us, the essence of which is love, that blueprint of our soul. So today, I invite you to deepen into that love that is the sole impulse for building your life. I invite you to build your life on the solid foundation of the love of the divine, of that cosmic mother, which surrounds you, which is you, and comes from you and comes back to you as you send it out. And so, in summary, decide this week to be the architect of your own life and of all the love that lives within you. Remember, architectures vary, as does the architecture of a mother's love. So be grateful to your mother for your existence. Love and forgive your mother, and let go of expectations that didn't get met, and release any hurt that's still residing in your soul. Allow forgiveness to set you and your mother free. Accept the Divine Mother who nurtures unconditionally. As Pierre Teilhard de Chardin wrote, love is the most powerful energy of the world. Love creates, love nurtures, it heals, it never destroys. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so easily and willingly make the choice today to fully embrace the nurturing of a mother's love and to use my own love to nurture, to create, and to heal? So your challenge for the week is to make a conscious choice to let go of anything that is not love and to use your own love to nurture, create, and heal anything within you or those that you encounter that it's time to release. Remember, as Charles Fillmore wrote, if we would draw to us love, we must be love. Let's pray. So in this time of recognizing that divine mother within us, all of that nurturing love that lives within us as unique expressions of the divine, what I know to be the truth is that we are each learning to nurture ourselves, to bring forth anything that needs to be healed so that we can heal it, to create within ourselves a depth of love that is so strong that whenever we see anyone, all we see is love. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be in a community that loves one another, that heals one another, that supports one another. And I'm so grateful to know that while the architecture of each of our loves varies so widely, that the essence of all of that architecture is the blueprint of our soul, which is love. So it's with great gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, into that divine who always says yes. So knowing that it's already done, I just release it, I let it be. I say amen, and together we affirm it. And so it is. So I want to once again thank everyone that's continuing to support us. On this Mother's Day, I invite you to make a special contribution to the mother of your heart that is your spiritual mother. And whether it be this community or another community, remember that the love that resides within you circulates and comes back to you as you circulate all that is good. Your service, your talents, your tithes. So thank you once again. Enjoy our offertory song.